Ever worried about making curry? Well, you don't have to worry anymore because I'm here to help you. Let's get cracking. I'm going to make a fish curry for you. It's a really important dish to get right, and it's quite difficult to get right as well, but it's going to be worth it. Everyone's going to ask you where you got the recipe from, and you can tell them you got it from me. Anyway, I've got my curry connoisseurs with me today. Are you all hungry?
Yes, we are.
I can't hear you.
Yes, we are.
You're ravenous. Good, that's what I like to hear. The thing about fish curry is what you have to do, and I've learned this through trial and error, is marinate your fish first. It's going to be worth it. It's going to blow your socks off. So let's make our marinade first of all. Okay, the first thing you need is 2 cloves of garlic and cut them up quite finely. So there we go, there's our garlic and in it goes. And the next thing you need is some ginger. Now a lot of people freak out when they see ginger, and I'm not surprised because that's what you have to work with, but don't panic because it is actually quite easy to work with. Cut off about that much, about maybe an inch and a half, and then all you do is just peel it.
For a marinade that's full of flavour, grate in the ginger, add a teaspoon of turmeric, half a teaspoon of hot chilli powder, and half a teaspoon of salt. Finish off with the juice of half a lemon.
So there you go, that is your basic marinade. There's only 5 things in there, really easy, but they're really pungent. So you'll be able to put your fish in there and it's going to take on an amazing, amazing taste. That's your marinade there. Next thing you need is your fish. Now, I have got here some swordfish. Now the reason I'm using swordfish is because it's quite firm, but you could use any other fish if you wanted to. What I would suggest you do is cut it into, reasonable kind of bite-sized chunks. If it's firm, it can be smaller. If it's not firm, keep it reasonably big. And put it in the marinade for at least half an hour. You have to do that. And this is what it should look like. And you can just smell it already. Gorgeous. You can just smell the lemon and the chili and the garlic and the ginger, my most favourite ingredient. And that, because that's been marinated for overnight, it's going to pack a real punch. Next thing we're going to do is fry the fish, and the reason we do that is just to seal the flavour in. So what you need to do is you get your frying pan, little bits of oil, vegetable oil or olive oil. Now you don't just stick the fish into that, because a little tip is to just coat it in something called gram flour. You take your gram flour, you take your bit of fish, you just coat it like that, and you start to fry the bits of fish.
Aasmah, you lead a really busy life. Are you never tempted just to open a jar?
I'm sorry, I don't do jars. I learned to cook from my mum, down the phone on bits of paper, and she made me realise actually it's really, really easy. You don't have to have millions and millions of spices. You just need to have maybe three or four basic spices, and it's so quick, and a lot of it you can just chuck in one pot and leave. And there we go, turn it over. And you see it still retained that lovely yellow colour, and that's when you know that it's going to taste amazing.
4 minutes on either side is all the fish needs to be cooked to perfection.
There you go, that is your fish. That is the key part of the whole dish. Once you've cracked this, the rest is really easy, and to smell it. I could eat it like this actually. What you do next is you make your sauce, which is really, really easy. So you take a pot.
To make the sauce, add 2 tablespoons of oil to the pan. Slice 1 medium onion and cook until the onions start to soften. Add 2 cloves of chopped garlic and cook for a further 2 minutes before adding 4 chopped tomatoes.
Right, put our spices in now. This is where it gets exciting. We'll get a teaspoon each of cumin, 1 teaspoon of cumin, With spices, I think you can always make it quite a heaped teaspoon because you really want the flavour to come out. 1 teaspoon of coriander. There we go. We've got turmeric. Now, because turmeric's already in the marinade, I'm going to use a little bit less turmeric. I'm going to use about just half. Now, chilli powder. I would obviously use 1 teaspoon, but I would start with half because remember, you can always add, but you can't take away. But what you need to do now is just to cook that off until the tomatoes are completely collapsed. And when they are, then you can start tasting it and adding salt to your own particular taste. So we're almost ready. The curry has been simmering for about 20 minutes. So just give it a little stir and just check the kind of the texture of it. Some people like to have a bit of water in their curry just to loosen it up a little bit. Other people are not that bothered. I like to have a little bit of liquid. So just put a little bit of liquid in just to test it. And yeah, that looks like the kind of texture that I like. I'm just quickly going to taste it. And just check that it's got the right kind of spice levels and the right amount of salt in it as well. I think just a little bit more salt. Just put a little bit more salt in. There we go. Okay, now it's pretty much ready. What I would do before I add the fish is just, because it is fish curry, it's nice to have a little bit more lemon juice. So just squeeze a little bit more lemon juice in. Do it through your fingers, obviously, so that there's no pips. There we go. Stir it through. And then you add your fish, which you made earlier. And it is lovely to have it as whole as you can. It just looks so much better. There we go, there's the last bit. Combine it through. And that's it, it's ready now. Last touch is a little bit of coriander. And that's it, grubs up. I hope you're hungry.